Can Dr.
Everyone can see the slide. Okay, all right. Sorry, Jeff. Okay, so this chapter 2. Okay, so the chapter 2 today we will have a look on the transformations of agriculture. So we want to see how the old people or the early age of the people, how they do some agriculture until nowadays. Any developments or any improvement in agriculture, yeah? Okay, so prehistoric era. So this is the era when we have dinosaur during that time. So here got 3 ages system. Okay, so during that time they have a stone age. It's more than 1 million years ago. During this time, as if you remember your history, we have Paleolithic, Mesolithic, and Neolithic. So during that time, people use stone as a gadget or tools for all activity, including hunting and so on. After that, you have Bronze Age. So it's a more modern a bit, 3,200 to 1,200 before century. Then after that, they shift to Iron Age. So this one will be about 1,200 to 500 before century. Okay, so during the Stone Age, how the people live, live and do some activities. So they are more to nomadic, they're more to hunting. Okay, they are era of Paleolithic. The major during that time there has a major climatic changes, so a lot of volcano and so on during that time, and then some evolution happened of human being. Okay, so human evolution spread from savanna of East Africa to the rest of the world. So you can see in this picture, okay, so all the tools, gadget, whatever made from stone, and these people live in the cave. Okay, so their main food, a lot of protein because they are depends on hunting during that time. When come to Bronze Age, they start metal. They use metal like melting copper and tin from naturally occurring, and then these tools is better for agriculture. So this is some tools that they use for during the Bronze Age. So they want to plow the soil, want to do some seedling and so on. They use all these gadgets. Okay, and come to Iron Age. So this is the developments of steel tools and weapon. Mainly they contain a lot of iron. Okay, so this is the transition started middle of Bronze Age. And iron during that time is cheaper and commonly found. Okay, easy to sharpen and forge, and technique is melting. During that time, this you can see this is a knife. Okay, it's a sharp knife, and this is where they do some activities. Okay, so this is the water, maybe well, and they have a water from here. Okay, agriculture in the Middle Age. So advancement made by the Muslim. Golden era of Osmania at the early 9th century. Okay, so it's from Near East, North Africa, and Spain. They have extensive irrigations and cultivation knowledge. As we know, irrigation system is the most important in agriculture. Okay, so if the irrigation is far and then not suitable, then that place is not good for agriculture anymore. So they started the agriculture evolution based on 4 key areas. Number 1 is irrigation system with machine, dam, and reservoir. So human built canal from the river to their dry land. They use farm animal to turn water wheel that power flour mill and brought water to the higher canal. So the animal can help the human to brought some water out from the wheel. You can see here, Okay, this is the activity in the Middle Age. So they have a whale, and then this is the animal helping human during that time. Secondly, adopted scientific approach to farming with improved farming technique so that they can make possible raising the crop animal away from the place of origin. So during that time, humans started to write some manual or something that how to plant, how to do some irrigation. That means have a proper record. Even though it's not a very systematic record, but then they have some way so that maybe this knowledge can pass to their next generation. They also started with incentive-driven approach, land ownership, laborer right, reward of harvest. So during that time, some the rich men they start to have a land, okay, and they have some worker. And then when the worker doing something for them, the reward is the yield or the food for them and the family to eat. For the introductions of new crops and plant variety. So development process called grafting. Grafting is a branch of one fruit tree can be cut off and then transferred to another tree. Okay, for example, you can see this picture. Okay, the branch of green apple, for example, can be grafted into trunk of the red apple tree. The green branch will still give off green apples. The same happen to the grapes, wine, and so on. Okay, so they have so they have two trunk, two plant differently. So you can see here, this is a branch and this is a stick. Okay, so basically, they have different type. They must the same fruit tree. Okay, it's not like you cannot combine the orange and apple. You must have the same apple, but then maybe the apple is different color. Then you craft it together. That means you put it together, insert, and then when the new shoot coming out from there is a combinations of the new plants. Okay, so this way is faster than using seeds. The seed they make take longer time rather than using the trunk. Okay, so this is the way how they do grafting. So by 14th century, plants and animals were shuffled across the Atlantic from the old world to the new world. During that time, humans are moving down. That means from Atlantic moving down. And then they also added some different types of crops. For example, maize, tomatoes, and potato. So this about the time the concept of agribusiness already been introduced indirectly. So people start selling, use some crops, some fruits, sell to other people and earn certain reward. Or they use the barter system barter. Let's say I have corn, I change with cloth, okay, during that time. But that is the beginnings of agri-business. Traditional agriculture. So traditional agriculture is the way how development from the old type, from stone, bronze, iron, then slowly go to traditional. And that means they have some improvement on agriculture system. Okay, so they are ecosystem fully utilized. The input are inquired in production and processing, and the waste are recycled. That means they put 100% the product or the input, and then the waste they recycle back. For example, if they plant some tomatoes, after harvest, okay, the plants, the roots, the biomass of the plants, they will chop it down and then put it as a compost. Then after that, that compost can be used as a fertilizer again. Okay. Second, the food production is more to art and craft. That means they can try to motivate or modify certain food crop become art or craft. Okay, for example, if you can see some of the fruit, they can do some decorations and so on. Okay, the knowledge and skill are handed orally from one generation to the next generation. The food is the important for survival of the community as well. Okay, so they cannot run away by ignore the food as a survivor. Before they sell any food to other people or exchange, they must make sure that they have enough food for their own consumption. If got extra, then only they will sell it. The land preparations and utilization during that time they use human and also animal on helping them to run some activities. They don't have any machine or they are not allowed to have a machine. Maybe certain rich men they already have machine to help them. However, for normal farmer, they don't have those machine. Okay. The labors incentive, intensive and control pest disease. So they control the pest and disease using labor as well. That not putting any chemical to the soil and so on. By maybe they can see some worm or any caterpillar, they just pluck or they just catch and then throw away. That means use human to do all those activities. They also depends on natural enemy and rainfall as a irrigation system. Okay, natural enemy means that they use, for example, like if there are rat in the farm, so they use naturally like owl or any birds to catch the rat and then eat. So indirectly they can control it. Organic fertilizer, land following and land furrowing and plant crop symbiosis important roles in providing the nutrient. This also as a natural way, okay, for degrade some of the waste and then use microbe because as we know that inside the soil we got many beneficial microbes, so they can play important roles by providing nutrient to the plant. They also use the native variety, okay, for the planting purposes. There is no different whatever high variety or whatever they have in the jungle. For example, like banana, they just use that as their own crop, native variety. Okay. How about modern agriculture? It was started back 1950s. Okay, so here rapid rise in mechanization. Okay, and then they have more machine coming in to help human, and also they try to reduce the usage of labor and animal. High quality and quantity of the product. Scientific research also been implemented and using some of the technology. This is a modern agriculture picture showing it was started in 1950. So you can see this machine over here. All right, so one person handling the machine and another one behind here. All right, so the modern agriculture use machinery like tractor for plotting the agriculture field. Okay, some related knowledge or research also involved in agriculture like biological science, chemistry, physics, medicine, engineering, ICT, economics. However, this modern agriculture must be utilized by proper way. That means we have to maintain the sustainable of agriculture. They cannot use excessive or chemical or more than a certain limit to the soil, because the soil has some limitation as well. If you use a lots of chemical, okay, and then when leaching, raining come in and the water, those chemical will go into the river and cause some pollution. Okay, some characteristics of the modern agriculture. Number one, intensive and mass productions as require of agribusiness. That means humans started to think about business, and then they must have a good quality and a lot of production so that they can sell their product. Second, extensive use of machines and electronic. So all these machine and electronic helping them for mentoring or monitoring of the field. Extensive use of chemical as well. Widespread of clone, hybrid, selective high yield variety. So they have some good variety or certain clone that have a high yield. Employments of highly knowledgeable and skilled worker. Okay, so the worker also must have certain levels of knowledge so they can handle some of the activities. Industrial approach with monoculture system and highly efficient management. Okay, so when they have more worker, more manageable way of doing things in the farm. Okay, and then they have monoculture system. I mean, let's say they have only corn, sweet corn, then they have all the sweet corn. And maybe the second piece of land, they will have a chili. So more systematic to be monitored. No attentions to give the traditional or taboos by professional. So the way of passing the knowledge, they not like previously like traditional way from the grandfather to the father to the son. So now they have more advanced, okay, no more traditional way, okay. So normally the traditional way they will convince the message or way of planting through verbally. Okay, so that is the traditional way of planting. Okay, green revolution. What is green revolution and why we need it? So need for green revolution because the fertile land decrease. Okay, many of the area, the land become lacking of NPK nutrient. That's why this is one of the needs, or that is the factor affect the green revolution. Labors and mechanization. Malaysian labor reduced. Okay, young generations not interested in agriculture, so they import the labor from overseas. So this need to reduce the deficit in labor balance of trade. If let's say you import too many people from overseas and work in here, okay, so you will have reduced the balance of trade in the country. So we need to encourage those people, especially young people, doing agriculture using the latest technology. For example, we know that young generations, like everyone here, you like gadget like handphone, and all those the software, computer, and so on. So we must use or create something that you can monitor your field, your crop by using all these gadgets. Then we can increase or enhance your interest towards the agriculture. Okay, if let's say government still using the old way, like cangkul tanah, using labor, no gadget, nothing, then slowly this young generation, they will lose their interest. And then nobody, when the old generation pass away, then slowly, we have to import all the worker from overseas. Okay, that's why you can see now people try to use drone for fertilization, control pests and disease. So because we know that you all like the mechanization, machine, software, and so on. So using this way to enhance the activity. Okay, the population increase. Okay, once the population increase, demands for the food also increase. right? You can see if, example, old generation pass away, young generation don't like agriculture. So what will happen? Okay, the supply will be lower than demand. Okay, and then we will have problem during that time because the food supply is not enough anymore. Need for the product. Different livestock must be raised and plant cultivated for a sustainable agriculture. Okay, we only can success if you have diverse of the product. For example, you cannot only depends on oil palm. Okay, so let's say one day the price for oil palm go down. So what will happen to the income of the country? You must diverse. Okay, maybe you must run the activities together like coconut, planting more coconut, planting more cocoa plant, coffee, and so on. So diverse. If let anything go down the price, then you still have some other things to substitute on those things as well. Okay. The trend towards environmental friendly practice. Conventional agriculture, okay, monoculture, high inputs of fertilizer. So all this may affect the environment. If you use too much of those pesticide or fertilizer, they will cause some pollutions. Okay. Technology advance. Current technologies are needed to get quality and require quantity for minimal labor input. Okay, so this is, we need some technology to help people. The promise of green revolution, number one, they can eliminate the hunger. Okay, second, they will increase global carrying capacity. Okay, increase the yield, increase technology knowledge, and get the material to rural farmer. So this is 5 promise from green revolutions. What are those the characteristics of green revolution? They will have high yield and disease resistant variety. So they promise to eliminate the hunger. So how to eliminate the hunger? They must have a high yield and variety which resistant. Okay, for example, new crop cultivar. Okay, so like they doing some tissue culture. This technique involve breeding without seed to produce exact copy in large number. They use leaf and shoot. Okay, as you know that by using this way, you can have a large numbers of the plant or seedling, and every single seedlings, they are the same. Okay, for example, the plant that usually go through tissue culture technique like orchid, tongkat ali, pineapple. And this plant normally disease free and maturity are shorter. So this is the advantage of tissue culture. Okay, pest and disease free seedling, uniform growth, early maturity, round of planting can be increased because the maturity is shortened. Okay, no stagger harvesting, new variety can be introduced, multiply in the short duration. Okay, this is some advantages of tissue culture. Okay, this photo showing the agriculture, tissue culture in the lab. Okay, the orchid, this is the orchid bring growth in the tissue culture. Okay, and this is I think is what is it, like something like a different type of plant. Okay, so this is how they grow in the lab. The light is 24 hours in order for them to have the photosynthesis process. Okay, so this is all every plants, they are uniform. Okay, and see this is the carrot. All right, so they cut it and then prepare and then grow in the test tube. Okay, this is the carrot. Secondly, genetic through the genetic engineering. So involve manipulating genes to produce new breed. Okay, for example, a new breeds of papaya. As we know, papaya always been attacked by rain spot virus. Okay, and then through the genetic engineering, we clone the BT Bacillus thuringiensis gene into the papaya and maize so that they can kill the virus. Okay, for example, like this. Okay, so this is the enzyme. Through this way, you insert the BT gene inside the plant. Then papaya can produce a new breed with resistance to the virus. So this is one type of GMO, genetic modified organism. Thirdly, they use the chemicals and bioagent, so improve yield and quality, or biocontrol, parasitic insect and also predator. Okay, so they use all those insect predator to control the disease. Indirectly, they also as a bioagent. That means naturally predator. For example, you can see bioagent. The owl control rat in oil palm and paddy field. Okay, so you can use this. You can rear a few owl and then you put in the field, so they will catch the rat. Then this rat will not disturb your paddy. Another types of biocontrol by using Beauveria. This is one type of fungi. Okay, you spray on the insect which attack your plant, so that indirectly the fungi will grow on top of the insect and attack the stomach system, and then the insect will die. Okay. Precision farming. Precision farming and agricultural concept rely on the existence of in-field variability. Okay, new technology, for example, like global positioning or GPS, sensor, satellite, or area image information management tool or GIS to assess and understand variation. For example, before we have this precision agriculture concept, the farmer, if let's say you have one piece of land and you do not know which area are fertile, which area is lacking of NPK, okay? But nowadays, during that time, if you don't know, what you can do is you just try and plant and see the yield. If the yield is good, that means that soil is fertile. Is your plant yellowish, not very small, weak, then confirm that that particular area is lacking of nutrient and so on. By using this precision farming technique, okay, you can estimate what is the fertile locations lacking of what. Maybe this site lacking of nitrogen, the other side lacking of phosphate or potassium or any minor nutrient. Then before you do any planting, you supply with the area with lacking of the nutrient, then only you can start with the planting. So this save a lot rather than you try and error on that particular plot. Okay, so this is the advantage from using the GPS or satellite or GIS. Okay, and then they use like gadget or maybe certain apps which you can install in your handphone. By having a handphone, you can do many things. Okay, so you can see that the farmer use GPS to create map and also collecting informations from the farm. Okay, this is how they do it. Okay, so this is the satellite. Okay, you can see that precision farming involve the use of GPS, okay, GIS, and remote sensing. So they have a satellite over here, and then they can monitor the plot, a big plot. down around the area of planting. Innovations in mechanizations and automations. So this is the machine involved. Let's say we have machine to plow the soil, okay, machine to put the seedling, then machines to harvesting, then after that machine to collect all the waste and then chop it become smaller and then put it back as a compost. Okay, all those things use different type of machine, so save a lot of human energy and also time. Okay, they save energy and time while producing quality product. For example, like irrigation also using machine, no more depending on the animals, or fertigation. Example like your fertigation, you can see we have a pump and then control system, then they will have piping to every poly bag. Okay, so when you on putting some water or some fertilizer, then the fertilizer will flow to each of the plant. Okay, and then they have a control environmental system as well. Okay, so second, the ability to farm much larger acres. Okay, so by using this system like fertigation, you can do as long as you want. The piping can go from a few acre from the main box or main power supply. So you just on, then they can grow. Okay, less fuel variability, then you can certain hydroponics concept, so you can just using certain place, you no need to use the field and so on to run the activities of planting. Few people involved in production. Okay, for example, you only need 1 or 2 person to control or manage. Okay, just one person on the switch, or maybe have another backup person. In order is previous, if you use the traditional way, you need people to watering the plant, okay, to do the weeding, to collect the yield. You need a lot of people. Okay, then you will have a higher total output. Definitely your yield will be better than using traditional way of planting. Okay. Okay, you can see here, this is a large and long sprinkler. Okay, irrigation, watering the crops. Okay, so here, once they on the power supply, then the water will flow in the field. Okay, and this one is airplanes or drone used to spray pesticide on crops. Okay, so they use this way. You cannot, if you have a huge acres of the planting way place, so you need help from these two. Okay, agriculture biotechnology. So agriculture biotechnology also is the, how to say, is the one program that important in agriculture, because they can help in the increase breeding, the genetic wise, and improve the yield. Okay, at the same time, like they do some genetic modifications, then can improve the yield and the quality as well. Okay, advanced processing methods and genetically modified organism to improve yield and quality. Okay, example can be seen in the productions of high yield clone, like just now, tissue culture clones and so on, fast food, dehydrated fruits, nutraceutical, antioxidants, vitamins, cosmetics, and enzyme. Okay, so that this is the way how people use biotech knowledge to improve the yield of the plant. For example, let's say dragon fruit. Last time, dragon fruits, they come out with the white color. Okay, then after that, yellow color. And nowadays, if you go to any shop, you can see it's a red color and round, sweet, and so on. So this is the genetic improvement from the first generations to the next generations. Okay, if the fruit is nice, big, and sweet, definitely you also want to buy it. even though the price is slightly higher. Okay. All right, so this is the agriculture biotechnology involve advanced processing method. So you can see here, this is a fermenter tank, okay, and then they can control the environment, okay, and then they use only the computer or one just system to control. So all the nutrients, everything, they can just supply. That means they, one day, for example, okay, in the morning, they will control how long they can go inside. That means for the supply, the nutrient grow inside, then maybe, or you can control how long the periods of supply, and then they will automatically stop. Okay. For example, like your polybag, your planting. Okay, so at the point there, they have the system they can control. Let's say you want the water drip for how long? 15 minutes. Then you can set. Then after 15 minutes, they will stop automatically. Okay, so you no need to worry about that thing. Okay, just now, just you need to make sure the piping is okay. If leaking, then you must repair it. Okay, so because they are under hot sun, definitely wear and tear, they will have some leaking, okay, along the way. All right. Agricultural biotechnology produce genetically modified organism. Okay, so you can see here, all right, so this is the plant grow in the test tube. Okay, so after a while, you will transfer this plant to the real environment in the field and they will grow up. Okay, but all the plants, they are consistent, uniform. Okay, so that they will have a very nice, maybe, I'm not sure what plant is this, but then you can have a very uniform types of fruits and then the sweetener and so on. Okay, this is the benefits from genetic modified organism. Okay. All right. So anyhow, each of country they have to have a certain enactment or scheme in order to control the practice of this to ensure they are globally compatible or competitive. Let's say you have dragon fruit, for example. You grow it and then you must have certain certified by maybe from the agriculture departments or anything so that to make sure that your product is safe, clean for export or consumption in locally. Okay, so you have encouraged good practices to ensure that they are competitive in the global market. For example, we have certain certified body to certify those products. Okay, like for example, like good agriculture practice. Okay, somehow if you go and do some shopping at the supermarket, you can see behind there they mention this food is have certified by GAP or GMP or SOM or SALM, something like that. Okay, so for agriculture manufacturing practice, they will put there is GMP. That means your manufacturer has been certified using certain SOP or certified by certain body. Okay, like Malaysians organic scheme also same. Let's say you have organic farming, your vegetable is 100% organic, no chemical. But how people know about that? So you must be certified by certain body to make sure that your organic is 100%. Then they will certify and then put some certified or any letter or put their SOM. That means it's safe for human consumptions and so on. Okay. And also Malaysian good farm practice. So this is given to the farm so that your farm is clean, follow certain SOP and so on. Then you'll be certified on that part. Okay. Okay. All right. So basically for this chapter, you have touched Okay, so basically for second chapter, you have touched on the transformations of agriculture, how the different stages like stone, how they do planting, how they survive and come to the bronze age, then iron, then after that is traditional way and also modern. So from the whole, how many millions years, you can see some transitions from one point to another point. Okay, as you know that humans start agriculture for their food on consumption. Then after a while, if they have more than require, then they will start to sell to other people. Maybe during that time, they are not using the money. They use exchange like barter system and so on. Then after a while, they started with specialize on what crop. Let's say specialize on the sweet corn. Then they will have more productions of sweet corn. The sweet corn will be sell to other people or export or maybe use for other food product. Okay, then slowly the engineering part come in with design of the machine irrigation system, and now we have the technology like GPS and so on, gadget and drone. So this is the developments or transformations from those days until today. And we still don't know what will happen in future. We hope that in future they have more advanced technique on agriculture and human no need to go. Maybe they can just sit down in front of the computer and monitor everything. Okay, that is the technology come in order to help human in these all activities. Okay, so basically you can have some idea the development happen in this world. Okay, all right. Do you have any question for this topic? Any parts that you are not clear? So far, so good. So far, so good. So far, so good. Okay.